Okay. Okay, so you have the text in front of you. Obviously, because you guys are certainly in this for the long run, this is our 11th shiur together, you could certainly feel free to buy the Sefer. I think personally, like in my opinion, not that this is not to convince you to continue to stay, but in my opinion, it's nicer to like have the Sefer and feel like you're quoting at something than just looking on the screen. But obviously, whatever it is, it is. All good. Do you want the, yeah, we'll stick like this. Let me just press the audio recorder. Okay, so we are beginning now the 5th parak, and we're going to be talking about the things that potentially stand in the way of a person acquiring the midah of zehirus. Reminder, of course, zehirus is alacrity, being thoughtful and being careful beforehand regarding doing one's actions and wanting to do the right thing. So, hine mafside hamida hazos marchikeha hem shlosha. There are 3 things that could hold the person back from acquiring this midah. Ha'echas hu atipol ve'atirda ha'olamis. The first is being heavily involved and engrossed in the world. It's noted here in the footnote that the Ramchal is not against a person having a job or making a parnasa. It says that actually in the last midah, one of the highest thing, there's a positive component to working. But at the same time, obviously, there's a certain degree a person works. Many of us know that, like the Tanaim and the Rishonim, many people throughout history had jobs and were huge Talmidei Chachamim and rabbis. Not that there aren't huge Talmidei Chachamim who have jobs now, but it almost has become where if you're a Gadol Yisrael, you do not have a job other than sitting, learning, and paskening for people. So it used to be, of course, like people were heavily involved in work. I don't say heavily involved, but people were involved in work, and a person worked, made a livelihood, and then learned Torah. So that's the first thing that could hold a person back. We're gonna be learning a lot about that tonight. Hasheni haschok ve'alaton. The second is a person who has levity and mockery, who basically doesn't take things seriously, and a person who's not sincere when it comes to things that a person should be sincere for. One of the Al Chaitan Yom Kippur is about this, and I think how there are times where I certainly have made jokes about things that should have been taken more seriously throughout the year when I do that. Hashlishi hachevra hara, and the third is having a bad chevra. Being surrounded with a bad chevra certainly influences us, whether we know it or not, and would detract would detract from acquiring zehirus. He says, I'm going to speak about each of them one at a time. So he says, Hine hatipol v'atirda kvar dibarna mehem lamala. We already spoke about involvement and preoccupation in the world. So we discussed that. Ki biyos ha'adam tara ben yanei olamo hine machshoso asurus bezike hamasa asher alehem v'yefshar lehem lastet lev elamaisa. That if a person is heavily involved in the world, so then your thought, like we discussed earlier, your thoughts are so wrapped around what you're doing, and you have no time to think about things that matter, to think about Hashem, think about midos. And we discussed in a previous shiur about Paro, and how Paro, once the Bnei Yisrael complained to leave to go serve Hashem in the Midbar, so Paro made things harder for them, and a more difficult way of them to build. They had to make their own bricks. And the understanding is that they stopped to think about things that mattered. So Hashem says, Paro says, I'm going to busy them with work, so that they can't even think about that. So he's saying, well, right, we did speak about that. The Chachamim alei mashal berosam ze amru, and the Chachamim say in Pirkei Avos, havimai be'esak va'osek b'Torah. A person should try to minimize the amount of work and labor that they're involved in, va'osek b'Torah. And a person should be involved in learning Torah. Kihine ha'esek muchrach hu la'adam litzorech parnasaso. He says, obviously, a person has to be involved in the world to a certain extent because they have to make a livelihood. But to be overly involved is something that's not necessarily so necessary. That if he's going to be so involved where he doesn't leave himself any time to focus on his avoda, meaning avodas Hashem, because a person, we're commanded as people to set aside time to learn Torah. And I think about this pretty often when it comes to friends of mine who have some crazy jobs, and you hear like horrific stories about people coming home at ridiculous hours and having to get up very early the next day and do it day after day after day. It's something that if I were forced into doing, I think I could survive a week, maybe 2 weeks. These people are doing it for years. And with certain jobs, not to call out certain occupations, I'm not saying that person necessarily shouldn't go into this, but we all know that there are certain jobs where it's known, like, yeah, you got to put in the heavy hours. After 5 years or something, 10 years, like things will really get much easier for you and you'll have more free time, right? Which is wild to think. Even for a year or two, like it's crazy to think about that. And we've mentioned that obviously in order to acquire Zehirus, a person needs to learn Torah. Rabbi Pinchas, that all of this whole sefer, the order that he's going in of acquiring the midos is based on this brisa from Rabbi Pinchas. Torah Mevila de Zehirus, and starts off that Torah, learning Torah, is the first step that brings a person to Zehirus. Obviously, on a simple level, you can't be zahir and careful about anything if you don't know what to be careful about. The only way you're going to learn what to be careful about is Torah. But as he's going to explain, it's much deeper than that. Zulasa lo yagia elav klal. And without this, I apologize, I was not focusing on where you guys were. Let me see where you are. Oh, I am. I was okay. Right here. Sorry. Zulasa lo yagia elav klal. That without zehirus, without learning Torah, you're not going to be able to acquire Zehirus at all. This is that which is taught, that an Am Haaretz can never be a chassid. That someone who doesn't learn anything can never be a pious individual. Now, the Ramchal understands this to mean not only can, of course, you be a chassid in the sense of someone who's pious, who is on a very high exalted level, but he's saying you can't even get to the first rung of the ladder if you're not learning Torah. And he says, because Hashem, who created the Yetzer Hara, created man. And Hashem told us that the antidote for fighting and combating the Yetzer Hara within each and every one of us is Talmud Torah, is learning Torah and keeping the Torah. K'moshe Amram Zechron Lebracha, K'moshe Amram Zechron Lebracha, Barasi Yetzer Hara, that says in Gemara Kedusha Daf Lamed, Hashem says, I created the Yetzer Hara, Barasi Lo Torah Tavlin. And I also created the Yetzer Hara and Torah as the antidote, as the cure for the Yetzer Hara. B'hine Pashutu. And it is obvious She'im habore lo bara l'makazo ela refuazo, that if Hashem wouldn't have created this Yetzer Hara, ela refuazo, meaning if Hashem obviously needs to give us the remedy has to exist. And if a person is not going to remedy fighting the Yetzer Hara with Torah, then a person is never going to be healed from this illness of the Yetzer Hara without taking the cure, which is Torah. Right? I just had to pick up some medicine for my wife. Thank God she's okay, not to worry. But imagine if a person, let's say, chas v'shalom, let's say has, I don't know, I'll just use a crazy, let's say a person has a form of cancer, and lo aleinu, and a person goes to Walgreens and picks up some Tylenol for them. Now, it's not really going to work. Person has to get different types of medical attention and remedy in order to try to be cured of their cancer, right? Just because something is medicine doesn't mean it's medicine for that. And if a person wants to be saved and spared from this, Eino ela Torah, that without Torah, they'd be mistaken. To take anything else, to try to say, I'm going to fight the Torah somehow, some way, but I don't need Torah. I don't need that. The Yira ta'oso vaso shiamos becheto said you're going to see that person is going to die with their sins. That's pointed out the Gemara in Sukkah on the Nun Beis says that the Yetzer Hara, when it comes to us, at first it's outside of us, and it's something that like speaks to us. But the more we give into the Yetzer Hara, Gemara says then the Yetzer Hara is in us, and it almost becomes us. So this person, they think they're able to fight the Yetzer Hara some way, and they think, they might even think they're doing a good job, but inevitably it's going to be so much part of them that they're not even going to realize till they die, till the Olam MS comes and tells them, you messed up a lot and you gave into Yetzer Hara a lot, and they were totally blindsided, totally didn't even realize what was going on. Kihine hayetzer hara b'emes chazaku ba'adamot, because in reality, yes, Akiva.
Hey, Rabbi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is there a specific area of Torah that he's talking about here?
It's a good question. Certainly, he's mentioned in the past, we've discussed the idea of learning Musar, of learning about being careful and controlling one's midos, working on one's midos. But I really think he's talking about all Torah, not just about Musar and not just about learn Torah so you know what to do, which was a different level, not level per se, but a different notion. But in general, when it comes, Torah is like one of the greatest cleansers for a person. It's a very strange thing about that, how many people have become from people who are totally unobservant just from learning Torah. Random sections of Torah could be Baba Kama, could be about learning what happens if your ox gores your neighbor's ox, and it mamish makes a person from, because that's the power of Torah. There are Shiur organizations that are built off of, Partners in Torah is one of them. I don't know if you've heard of it or were involved in it or are involved in it, where you have a chavrusa of someone who's irreligious. And that's it. That's the kira. Just having one person who's religious, learn someone who's irreligious, learn anything, but that actually makes a tremendous rosham on them. So good question. So I think it really could be any type of Torah person. So he says,
awesome. Thank you so much, Rabbi.
No problem. That if a person isn't careful, the Yetzer Hara is going to overcome him and rule him. And if a person tries to fight the Yetzer Hara with a million different strategies and different ways, that anything but Torah, lo yeda v'lo yagish tikboras chelyo elak shemus b'chato v'tova nishmaso. You will not be successful, and you're going to die with this illness of the Yetzer Hara very strong in you. It says there's no other remedy. Hashem, who created the Yetzer Hara, also created the Torah and told us this is the remedy. What's this similar to? Someone who goes to the doctor and the doctor says, take this medicine that I'm prescribing for you. This person is not a doctor, doesn't know medicine very well. Nonetheless, he goes and he decides to take whatever he thinks he should take. Person's certainly going to die from this illness. That there's no chance of beating it if they're not going to listen to the doctor who knows what to take, and them thinking, I don't know, I'll just take X or Y. Ki ein mi shemakir b'choli hayetzahara u'bekocho hamutba bo ela boro shabiro, because no one recognizes the sickness of the Yetzahara and the strength it has, the fact that about it being embedded in us, other than Hashem who created it. The who has hiranu sharafua lo hi Torah. Hashem told us that the cure is the Torah. Mi efo yanicheha v'yikach ma shikach sulasa v'yechia. That who then could set aside this remedy, the Torah, and take whatever else he wants and hopes, and who else could think that they're going to survive? Badai, for sure. Shachlosha chachamrius yelech yigbar alav madrega achar madrega. Now he's going back to being involved in the world and not learning Torah. He says certainly there's a darkness that will come upon a person if they're like, and they're going to seep down level after level, if they're so involved in the world, if they're distancing themselves from the emes, that even when a person's going to be so far away that the thought of doing the right thing is not even going to come to him. So a person is so invested in worldly matters that they don't have any time for davening, for learning Torah whatsoever, then they're not even going to be at a level where they're going to think to want to do the right thing. And I think if you think about people, it could be different points in their life ourselves, but certainly other people we know who maybe at one point were more religious, where the more a person spirals downward, the more they really stop caring and thinking about things that are relevant and things that matter, things of importance. And there was a time when those people, I know people who were once very from people, right? And there was a time where they really cared about what mattered. And they showed certain priorities, and they lived by them. And then, for whatever reason, one reason or another, they chose to become less observant. And it seems as if like they wouldn't even recognize themselves. And they're so engrossed in the physical world and not learning and doing anything but Torah, that they probably don't even have the thought like, I should really put on tefillin. I should really daven. And it's a sad thing. And the Gemara in Kedushin on Daf Kaf Amud Aleph says that when a person gives into the Yetzirah, so the first time you do it, you realize, you feel ashamed that you sinned, but when you do it repeatedly, the Gemara says, Nasa lo kaheter. It becomes permissible to you. The Gemara says, it's mutter? It says, no. It's as if it's mutter to you. Meaning, of course it's not allowed, but you rationalize it and you say, this is fine. This is okay. And it's a scary thing. Scary thing when a person gets to a level and goes down and down. But if a person is osek b'Torah, then he's going to see the ways in which he should live, and the commandments that he should keep up, that he should adhere to, and the warnings of the things he should stray from. And he says this will ultimately lead a person to have positive thoughts of wanting to be on the right path. Right? Remember, the Hebrews is about the machshava. This isn't Maisa per se. But the whole thing, when a person is involved in Torah, they're going to have a stronger desire to do the right thing. If a person is not learning Torah, it says almost nothing could replace it. And this is what Chazal say, Halevai osi azbu b'torasi shamaru. that Hashem says is a wild idea. Hashem says, like halavai, like it would be worthwhile for my children, for Bnei Israel, to abandon me, but to still learn my Torah. Meaning, obviously, we're supposed to serve Hashem and learn the Torah. Hashem says, still, like almost like Dayenu, if they even don't care about me, but learn Torah. Why? Shama'or Shabbat Machzir Lemuto. Because the light of the Torah will bring them back to doing good. That itself is so powerful, the Torah, that it's going to cause a person to want to be better and to go back to doing the right thing. Shama'or Shabbat Machzir Lemuto V'hine Sari V'hinehu Hine Bechlal Zeh Gam Kein K'dias Ha'itim El Cheshbon HaMaisev Tikuno K'mo Shagashati Amala. It's not, obviously not just learning Torah, but it's learning Torah, and then imagine if a person also sets aside time for cheshbon nefesh, to think and be reflective upon their day and upon their actions, and to want to fix one's actions, to have a plan like we spoke about. Imagine just like that's everything right there. You're setting yourself up for success when you have those ingredients. Melvad kol zeh, kol ma shishar lo pnai mi'asakav, that when a person, aside from their job, the work and the involvement in the world, with the free time that they're left with, the free time that they have, im chachamhu badai shel yavdehu, that if they're a smart person, certainly they're not going to waste it. Like the phrase, I remember, I can envision it, my Rosh Yeshiva of Aaron Marcus in Israel, I remember about almost like 14 years ago, let's say. I remember him saying that he despised the phrase killing time. When someone says, I'm just killing some time, I have 20 minutes to kill. Said, how could you say that? Like, do you realize how valuable time is? So over here, he says that for the time that a person has, if a person is smart, they're not going to waste it. They're going to make sure to hold on to it, to not just let it go, and to be involved in fixing oneself and serving Hashem. Zeh hamafsid, and this, being involved in the world, is something that could lose that. That although, he says, although this idea, this point, which is the most prevalent amongst the 3 points, the first one of being involved in the world, obviously affects everyone, he's saying. But nonetheless, so he says, even though it's the most prevalent, it also happens to be the easiest to avoid of the 3. Because if you have someone who truly wants to do the right thing, who truly wants to be on the right path, they could do it. They could get out of this. And they'll make sure to do some of these things, learning, being reflective, and it's an easy cure for this. Time it is okay. We'll do a little bit more. Achashini, the second thing. Hine hu kashamod. The second thing was leitzanos, was making a mockery of things, not taking things seriously, making a joke out of everything. Hine hu kashamod. This is much harder to rectify. Hu aschok ve'alatzon. Kimisha toveya hu kimisha toveya b'yam hagadol shakasha me'od li'maliz menu. Because anyone who's involved in this, in making a joke of everything, it's like you're drowning in a huge sea where it's very difficult to escape from. Kihine haschloku ma'abed slave ha'adam. Because making a mockery of things is something that destroys man's heart. It's referring to like the sensitivity of the soul. Of, like I said, in Yom Kippur, when it comes to making a mockery of serious things, it's literally one of our al-chaitz that we clock for. Because when you have something that's serious, you're not supposed to make a joke out of. I work in a high school, and there are plenty of times where kids joke about a lot of things. There are certain programs that we have throughout the school year. We did have a program online yesterday for Yom HaZikaron, And had we been in school, I can tell you what happens in a lot of those programs is we announce to the kids, when you come in quietly, come in with respect. Because they know there's certain programs you just have to have, they're not the time to joke around. Says that if a person that this idea of not caring about things, lightheadedness, that it could really destroy a person's heart, because there's no reason and like logic that will rule over this person. He's like a drunk person or a fool, a drunkard or a fool, who it's impossible to give them advice that they're going to accept or give them any judgment. They're not going to care. It's okay, I'm fine. What's the big deal, right? They blow everything off. They don't care about anything. They make a joke out of everything. Humash Amar Shlomo Melech Alav Hashalom. This is what Shlomo Melech said. L'schok amarti maholal. Schok, I say, is madness. L'simcha mazu osa. And what does simcha accomplish? Now it's pointed out here, the footnotes that I have. Now he's not talking that it's that having a sense of humor, it happens to be a positive thing. Having simcha is very much a positive thing. But there are certain times when it comes to every midah can be taken to the extreme in a negative way. So here, when a person is only having simcha or making fun and laughing about everything, then, as Shlomo Melech says, that's madness. It's crazy. Chacham Zechron Lebracha Amru. Chacham saying Pirkei Avos. Schok v'kalas rosh margilim es ha'adam le'erva. That schok and just joking around, this stuff is what could lead a person. It's not saying don't be funny, but you'll understand as we say a little more. It leads a person to erva, to committing an arayos, the arayos. This week's parsha, Ramos. Ki afal pisha chamura ki erva itzal kol ben das. Because of course, even though arayos is something that's very serious, according to everyone, any thinking person, and every person's heart is scared to get close to it. Because a person knows and a person's aware of how serious a sin of, whether it's adultery or other types of arayos, how serious of a sin and a punishment that would be. It says, Hine haslok v'kas rosh, but when it comes to this idea of lightheadedness and really just mockery, he says, Mamshich moso ma'at ma'at, u'makrivon so haloch v'karev shetiyeh hayira sar me'alav ma'at ma'at madrega achar madrega. He says, like, you're slowly chipping away and breaking down that barrier with every joke and everything that you're saying and that you're making fun of, right? If you think about example, let's say when it comes to a lot of affairs, unfortunately, that people have, a lot of times it's with coworkers, and the reason for that is because of this exact thing, that you're just joking around, you're being friendly, having a good time, and one thing very, very slowly leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and all of a sudden, boom, you make a huge mistake. That's slowly but surely going down madrega until you actually reach the sin itself and you commit it. Why? Because all of this midah of zahiras, of alacrity, is about thinking about things and bringing things to your heart. And when it comes to kalas rosh, it does the exact opposite. You're taking things that are supposed to be in your heart, they're supposed to take seriously, and you're removing them from your heart. The nimsa, and we find shalo yavo hirhure hayira libo klal, and the result will be that you have zero yira whatsoever, that you have slowly over time have removed all the Yira Shemayim that you've had, that you thought that, I'm just making one small joke to a girl I work with. I'm just talking to her about this, not a big deal. And over time, things unravel. And you start caring a lot less about things that are important. You don't even realize how far it's gone until, unfortunately, it's too late to fix and too late to rectify. We're gonna stop over here, and we're about halfway through the parak. And as Hashem, we'll pick up next time.